All right, guys, this is a basics training on phone scripts, which is probably one of the most important things that you can learn starting out in our stores. We call this the Anytime script, and let's get right into it. So, the Anytime script is comprised of what we call the basic phone training. This is right here my version of a phone, and it rings. And before we get into the script, some of the things I'd like to talk about are what is the purpose of a phone script and why this is probably, if not the most important thing that you can learn in our stores. So, in my opinion, the phone is a weapon. It is not a $20, $30 item. It is actually the most expensive thing that we own because the phone brings in all the money and all the work. And the truth is, we actually get about 90% of our customers to call in prior to bringing in their vehicle. So if we don't answer this phone right, all the tools in the back of the shop are useless and you don't have any work. The purpose of the phone is simple. It is to bring in cars into your shop. And I'll say, this is an Arrow, and we'll have this little car here. This is a Chevy Corvette C8. And when you answer the phone correctly, you get more Chevy. You don't get maybe Chevy Corvettes, hopefully not. We don't really work on those, but you get more cars, which car count is the most important metric in our stores, actually in any stores in our business. You don't go out of business because you have too many cars. You go out of business because you don't have enough cars. So there's some basic groundwork rules that we follow, and these are some of the ones that we'll be quizzed on. And the first rule of our phone script is number one, never give a price. And I say never, but there is exceptions to it. But for all intents and purposes, to starting out, you don't give a price on the phone. If somebody says, how much is blank, you don't give a price. You actually say, absolutely, I give you a price, and then we will get into the script. What the script does is, and again, rules for scripts. What the script does is the script is a roadmap. And the roadmap is very simple. It takes that customer who calls, right? They're calling on the phone. And I'll put that over here. And you get them via the script. Okay, that's my road. And you get this customer into your shop, because do we make money if the car is not in our shop? No, we do not. We only make money when that car is in your bay. So the goal, again, is to get that customer off the phone, in their vehicle, and into your shop. Once you're able to do that, then you can actually go through and actually have the opportunity to fix the car and to be able to sell auto repair. So it is a roadmap. And when you don't follow it, the roadmap, if you go off the road, you're going to end up in a ditch. Off-road is equal to very bad. It's very bad. And a good indicator of that is when you start making things up and you start going off on a rant and you start, saying, well, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. The next thing you know, you're going off the path, and the customer can actually keep you on the phone for as long as it desires. So that gets us into the next point, which is you ask questions, because whenever someone asks questions, you control the conversation. And I'll explain to you what that means a little bit. When someone asks you a question, the best way to respond is with a question, because that gives you the control. So you don't want to just answer questions. What you want to do is, you're the expert. If you say, Doc, my knee is hurting, I think I need a surgery, the doc should say, well, why do you think you need a surgery? Because I'm the expert. So asking questions, we'll get more into that, but it gives you authority. It gives you more information, and the biggest, which is you control the conversation instead, and then you can actually lead that customer into your shop. So these are some of the tips. Here's some more tips since we're on tips. Smile when you're answering the phone, because the customer can hear you smile. They can actually hear. When you answer the phone smiling, the customer can sense that energy, and it's a huge deal when you're smiling. Like if I'm smiling right now, you see my tone of voice changes, right? It's a big deal. You should match the customer's energy. So if a customer is very high strung, you need to match that energy. And we always say +1, just a tiny little bit more. If your grandma call you on the phone, don't be coming at her like, hey, what's going on, grandma? Because you might freak out grandma and she may not want to come to your shop. So what I would do is you would match the customer's energy based on how they're feeling. And if they're very disappointed or sad, they're crying. Sometimes we get that. Guys, we're fixing people's problems here. They're in pain. So you want to match their energy. If the customer's crying on the phone, you should get sympathetic, should lower that energy, bring out some of the emotions, say, I'm so sorry about that. Are you okay? Let's get you safe, make sure you're okay, and get you inside the shop. I already mentioned, ask questions. And again, I can't emphasize that enough. Questions should be dealt with questions. If someone asks you a question, you ask a question, you will be in charge. And that is a huge part of controlling the conversation. And finally, most conversations are going to last under 90 seconds. And I say this now, and people are like, Zane, how do you know that? Let me tell you guys something. I'm going to go off the script myself here. 95% of customer behavior is what? Is predictable. Predictable. Now, explain what that means is, although cars have changed, although technology has changed or tools have changed, what hasn't changed is the way customers feel about their broken car. In 1993, if someone called about their brakes making noise, I highly doubt it was any different than what it is today. Actually, it would be even easier today because cars, people used to know more about their cars. Now it's like, they're squeaking, I don't know, but they were still distraught. They still needed it fixed. They still needed to do it done as quickly as possible, as properly and well as possible. So customer behavior actually hasn't changed. Actually, and I would argue in most cases in the service field, most customer behavior has remain the same whether you're running a plumbing company or, in our case, a repair shop. So if that doesn't change, then can we pretty much make a script that accommodates the customer? And the answer, of course, is yes, which is why we're having this class. If you can understand customer behavior and you already know how the customer feels, you can actually pre-train on what responses, because 95% of that phone rings is going to be things that we're already aware of. The 5% that you get some crazy scenario, which you will, to be honest, nobody can train for that. And to be honest, I don't even care if you get that customer. At the end of the day, you need to just make sure that the 95% is handled. And because if you can, then what will happen is you will be able to bring these customers in to your shop and your car count will explode. And if that does happen, you will run the busiest shop in town. And therefore, not only will you have the best revenue, you have the most opportunity to continue to grow. So that is some of the basics that I have to offer. In the next video, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of scripts, which is you have 3 types of calls. You have a level 1, a level 2, and the dreaded level 3 that everybody focuses on, but is a very small portion of our actual phone calls. So we'll get into the actual rules of how to answer each level of phone call, what it means, and we'll go from there. I hope this was helpful. The basics of phone script, again, the phone is the most valuable tool. This is the most valuable tool in our shop. We need to have the most trained people answering it because it impacts the most important metric, which is car count. Because without car count, we have no shop. So how you answer the phone will determine how many cars you get. The basics of phone scripts: never give a price. It's a roadmap. Don't go off the road. You will end up in a ditch. Make sure you ask questions. You answer a question with a question because you will control the conversation. Make sure you smile and match the customer's energy. Again, ask the question when a customer has a question. The most calls will last under 90 seconds. 95% of customer behavior is predictable, and if you can understand that, you can pretty much get any customer into your shop because you are a trained professional. You're no longer an amateur. And there's 3 levels of calls. If you can master those, we will be able to get all the cars. And that is the most important thing in our shop, is learning the phone script. Thank you very much.